Hello, Misfits. This is Kevin.
And this is Kate.
Welcome to Horrorwood.
We're here in the crime closet.
Crime Closets. It's a Sunday morning.
It's a Sunday morning, and I did not sleep well last night.
This is going to be fun.
I'm dragging today. But you know what? We have some fun announcements.
Yay.
Well, I think it's just like one announcement.
But even one is fun.
Yeah. So it's August. It's pre-October. This is our first episode in August.
Yeah.
So happy August, everybody.
Happy August.
We're just barreling towards fall and spooky season like nobody's business.
We hit an oil patch in January, and now we're skidding toward the grave.
Oh, shit. Well,
I mean, like the spooky time of seasons. Spooky season.
Like
Jesus.
Halloween graves.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I see. It's like, wow.
Mortality.
That got real.
It got real dark real fast.
But spooky season means that it is time for our fall Patreon gift packages, which if you're not a Patreon subscriber, now's a great time to join.
Yeah.
Because in October, we send out a little fall gift package that we curate together, Kevin and I.
We talk about it. We think about it. We put it together. We sit at Kate's kitchen table and assemble things and write
We
things.
do.
And it's a big deal, and we love it.
And I will say, so last year's gift packages, I thought
they were the bomb.
Pretty
They were
great.
amazing.
I don't know what this year's are going to be. We have some ideas.
Yes.
So, yes, if you're interested in getting one of those, you have to sign up on our Patreon by September 1st because anything that we have to order to put in the packages, we need to do so by the beginning of September so we can get it all, make whatever we need to make, assemble whatever we need to assemble so that it can go out in October. And if you're already on our Patreon as a $5 subscriber, our Misfit Murderinos, then you're already going to be getting one of those packages. So no need to worry.
Yeah, you're in it and ready for it.
And if you're an accomplice subscriber, our $2 tier, now's a great time to upgrade because you can get a little something in the mail.
An extra $3, and you get a whole bunch more.
And you'll get all the bonus episodes, too, that the Murderinos get. So, yes, and you can listen to our Bling Ring episode. I wanted to tell you about this because the case I mentioned at the end of the Bling Ring on our Patreon got turned into a movie, which I didn't even know. And I just saw the trailer for it.
God.
It's called Skincare, and it stars Elizabeth Banks. And they're doing an advanced screening, and I think you and I should go.
We should go. Where at?
Alamo.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and it's cheap day, so.
Oh, Tuesday.
Love it. Yeah, we'll probably do an episode on that case.
Perfect.
I had no idea that movie was even being made or that it's coming out like now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm going to try to get that out for a Patreon as like a follow-up to our Bling Ring episode.
And that's when that horrible man stalked and tried to ruin that lady's life.
Yes. I mean, he did ruin her life.
Oh, skincare. It's okay.
Skincare.
I'm a slow one this morning.
No, it's okay. We didn't get any sleep.
Sense.
We're struggling over here. Kevin forgot his coffee, and things are rough. So yes, Patreon subscribers, sign up. It's $5. You'll get a little something in the mail. Plus, you'll get all the bonus episodes, and you'll get every episode ad-free. Do it. It's fun.
I love that. This is like extra stuff you're actually getting access to, which is awesome.
So, yeah, listen to Kevin and be awesome.
Sign on up.
I'll
send you something nice.
Oh, and you are going to tell us something not so nice today.
Yes, let me start my story. Trigger warning at the top. Child sexual abuse.
Okay.
I'm just putting that out there now. I will also warn you when I'm about to talk about an instance that happened. in case you need to skip forward. So today we're diving into another horrible case where a director takes advantage of a child.
No. Ugh.
Yes, the name Victor Salva is synonymous with horror. He's the famed director of movies like Clownhouse, Powder, and the Jeepers Creepers franchise. Are you familiar with any of those, Kate?
Jeepers Creepers, but not the other two.
Powder was a movie for Disney. I'll get into it
Okay.
later. I remember it. It's a weird one.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, the darkness that we love to see on screen crept ever so forcefully and stealthily into the life of 6-year-old actor Nathan Forrest Winters.
Oh, no.
I'm not sugarcoating it. Salva groomed and molested Nathan for 6 years prior to his arrest in 1988.
Oh, my God.
Which led to multiple charges and a stint in prison. However, as we always see in Hollywood, his crime and prison sentence would not hinder his making of movies, winning the ongoing support of Francis Ford Coppola, and with studios like Disney bringing him on board, allegedly claiming they didn't know beforehand.
What? Oh, okay.
So I want to say this. This is my own disclaimer for this episode. And I
Okay.
just feel like it's necessary to say at the top of this episode that so the gay community, like the LGBTQIA plus community, is often heavily and negatively stereotyped, like as child molesters and groomers. And it's a disgusting idea that's not true at all.
Right.
This is the story of one instance of a gay man engaging in pedophilia and child molestation.
Gotcha.
It's an awful situation. I don't want me telling this story to feed the stereotype, which is why
Right.
I'm saying that at the top of this.
Perfect. Yeah, because heterosexual people are also pedophiles.
Well, the thing is,
out
like,
there.
pedophilia knows no, like, gender and sexuality.
Right.
It's, like, beyond that. It's a, you know, mental disorder, and
It's a power thing.
Right, exactly. It's a dynamic. It's structured in a way that that anybody can, you know, do this type of thing. And I didn't want doing this episode to be like, oh, look, this gay guy is a pedophile. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
is
no, I get it.
true, but like,
And I think the listeners get it too.
I think they will too, but I just felt the need to say that.
you guys get it.
You guys get it. Victor Salva was born in Martinez, California, about 20 miles outside of San Francisco, on March 29th, 1958. When he was a kid, he and his younger brother would play with toy models of movie monsters like Frankenstein.
Oh,
The
you said it so fancy. Frankenstein.
It's like how in Young Frankenstein, he's like, it's
It's
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. I'm going to say it from now on.
I
like
love
that.
it. The Mummy and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Salva looks back on his time at this time in his life as a coping mechanism for surviving a bad childhood. He was born to a young 18-year-old mother, and his father left pretty soon after he was born.
Oh.
His mother eventually remarried, but to a not-so-great man that, on one hand, helped them out of poverty, but it came with a price. The
Yikes.
stepfather was a drunk, abusive man who put the family through hell.
This is just starting off
It's
in
we're
a
in
dark
it.
place
Oh, and
right
it will
away.
only get darker. Salva recalls being beaten and thrown across the room.
Oh, my God.
In an article for the LA Times, he recalls, quote, "It was like living with a landmine. You never knew when it was going to go off."
Oh.
Let's also not forget that this was a strict Catholic household, which brings its own unique set of challenges,
Sure.
as we have discussed
At length.
at length. Victor saw the movies as an escape from a troubling reality, even though he was only allowed to go to the cinema on his birthday.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. He once snuck out with his friends to see Jaws when it first opened at a nearby drive-in movie theater. Salva seemed to live and breathe movies from a very young age, which get it. When
Yeah.
you're dealing with all that shit at home. As he grew up, he wrote and directed over 20 films, both short and full length, before even graduating from high school.
Wow.
So he's just making his own home movies, churning
Yeah.
them out. He would show them in the school cafeteria and narrate them himself.
Oh.
It was also at this age that Salva knew he was gay. His parents found out, and he was kicked out of the house when he was 18.
Well, that's shitty.
Yeah, they basically said, "Don't be gay or get the fuck out."
Oh, my God.
And so, like, you hear that. I mean, you hear this story all the time,
Sure.
even today.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Love your kids, and if you can't do that, don't have kids.
Yes, exactly.
Salva went on to go to a junior college and then continued writing scripts. He would eventually go on to work in childcare.
Uh-oh.
And that's where he was introduced to his victim, Nathan Forrest
No.
Winters. So Nathan Forrest Winters said he always wanted to be an actor, starting with a love of music. He was born in June 1975, also in Martinez, California, to an artsy mother and a mean alcoholic father.
Oh, geez.
Nathan started his career at 6 years old when he met Victor. A 23-year-old Salva was working in a daycare center where a friend of Nathan's mom, Rebecca Winters, had a child enrolled. Salva mentioned to the mother's friend that he was making a film called Goblin's Gold in his backyard and said he needed a helper for the props. As previously stated, Rebecca is very artistic, and this friend was like, hey, I know somebody who can help. So Nathan's mom ended up making the goblin head for the movie. Because of her involvement, Victor and Nathan were introduced to each other.
Sure.
Nathan actually credits his introduction to Victor as being his inspiration for wanting to be an actor.
Okay.
Victor wasn't known in Hollywood at all at this point. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a guy just making movies. In his
He's like fresh out
backyard.
of school.
Yeah, pretty much. Nathan said he became friends with his parents first. Victor and Nathan's parents became friends. And that's when the grooming started. By building trust and adoration between the parents and Nathan himself. Nathan said that he took his time to start with. Within the first year, he started abusing Nathan.
Oh my God. And can I ask, was this the first incident that we know of where Victor was okay.
First and only.
Interesting.
I think.
Okay.
Or
that's reported.
That's reported.
Okay.
I tried to find if anyone else had come forward, and it doesn't seem like anyone did. I will say Nathan Forrest Winters has been very vocal about this.
Great.
And,
That's great.
You know, I watched like several clips online of him recounting everything, which is where most of this information comes from. And we'll get into it. There was a documentary that came out.
Oh.
But it was independently produced and distributed, and I couldn't
find it,
get a hold of it.
Okay,
forward 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this account, because this is when the abuse started. So from an interview I watched with Nathan for Sky News in 2017, he said the abuse started over a conversation regarding Mowgli's loincloth in the movie The Jungle Book. Salva told Nathan that he could make him one by tying two handkerchiefs together. Winters recounts that he was fondling him as he was tying the makeshift cloth onto him.
Oh my God.
And then it just progressed over the next 5 years.
Oh my, okay.
I know. Winters said during this same interview, quote, "You gotta think a 6-7-year-old falls down and skins their knee. They go running to the adult that they trust and feel most comfortable with.
Of course.
And that's who Victor was to me." Salva became a close friend of Nathan's family and especially his parents. Things started to escalate pretty badly behind the scenes between Winters and Salva.
Oof.
Victor then started production on another short 37-minute horror film titled Something in the Basement, which came out in 1986 and featured Winters.
It's like what your parents told you when you were a little kid. There's someone in the basement.
Yeah. Oh my God, when they tried to scare me.
And then it traumatized
and then they
you.
did, and I have to talk about it in therapy to this day. And when I tell people it's not funny, it's trauma, I have to keep repeating that to myself.
Sorry, I laughed about it.
No, please. I wanted you to laugh.
Okay.
That was the whole point of me telling it, because I thought it was hysterical. Mind
Yikes.
monsters.
Ooh, mind monsters. I like that term.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I like it in a weird way. It's a good term.
It's a good term. Let's keep it at the forefront.
Alrighty.
So Salva had about 19 to 20 boys audition for the lead role. And Nathan begged him to let him be in it. He was like, "Please, I want to do this. This looks so much fun. You've inspired me to be an actor." He's 6 or 7.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, by this point, the sexual abuse had been going on for about 2.5 years.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So he's like, I guess 8? Around 8?
He'd be about 8.5, 9.
Okay.
At this point, Salva had full trust from Nathan's parents. Salva was getting to spend weekends alone with Nathan, taking him to amusement parks, staying at his house, all of that.
This is making me sick.
I know. Nathan recounts that Salva eventually gave in to his pleas to audition for the role in Something in the Basement. And he eventually did, and ended up getting the part. Nathan was thrilled to get the part. He told all of his friends at school. He was super excited.
Sure.
The short film actually didn't do too bad. It kind of got acclaim. It was pretty good.
Oh.
And the film was entered into the Sony AFI home video competition in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
It garnered some acclaim and a first place prize in the fiction category.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the film centers around a young man who is waiting for his older brother to return home from the army, like from a war.
Mm-hmm.
And he encounters something evil in the basement that's claiming that his older brother has died in the war.
Oh.
Some kind of evil presence. I couldn't find it to watch it online. I'm sure it's somewhere. The movie caught the attention of famed filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, who was on the panel of judges at that competition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. After that, Coppola approached Salva and told him he liked his work and asked if he had any other films in the works.
Damn. I mean, when Francis Ford Coppola, when you get his attention, that's like...
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did. And Salva then went home and wrote the movie Clownhouse.
That one I'm not familiar with.
I am not either, actually. And I didn't watch it. You have to pay for it. And I didn't want to put any money toward it for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Which went on to be a cult hit, actually. Salva penned the main character roles based on the two boys that starred in Something in the Basement, Nathan and Brian McHugh. The film also featured young actor Sam Rockwell.
Oh, wow.
In his third acting credit listed on IMDb.
Jeez.
Coppola ended up giving $250,000 to Salva to make the movie, and a lot of it was shot like at Coppola's own home in Napa Valley.
That sounds like a dream if you're a young and up-and-comer.
Francis Ford Coppola was like, dang.
Here's $250,000.
Make a movie.
Come to Napa Valley, the wine country. Make your film.
Make your film amongst the grapes. The premise for Clownhouse is pretty straightforward. Just before Halloween, three brothers, home alone in a large house, are terrorized by three escaped mental patients who have murdered traveling circus clowns and assumed their identities.
Okay. Are they dressed as clowns?
Yeah.
That is the scariest shit.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was terrified of clowns. Just absolutely frozen in my place if I were to see a clown. And tears. Tears.
Really?
Yes.
I was that way about spiders.
You still are.
I still am. But when I went to see Jumanji in the theater, you remember the big spiders come out?
Oh, yeah.
I ran out of the theater.
I don't blame you.
Screaming.
What if it had been one of those interactive experiences? You can't even handle the thought. I thought you were about to jump out of your chair.
No. We did one of those at Disney World. There was the alien encounter. I don't know if I've probably talked about this a million times, but I didn't know what it was. My mom didn't know what it was. And we were like, ooh, alien encounter looks like fun.
Yeah.
Did you go on that?
I don't think so.
So it was an interactive experience. And you're in this like amphitheater situation in these seats with a harness and everything. So it's all like these things happening, like speakers and it's like this whole thing where these aliens and astronauts are bringing in like an alien from another galaxy. And I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I love this. 7-year-old me was like, yay.
Let's do it.
But then the transmission gets out of control.
Uh-oh.
And they accidentally beam in a monster alien that's reminiscent of the alien from the Alien franchise.
Oh.
And so it's all in this tube, this glass tube in front of you. And you just see this monster start moving through the smoke. And then as you hear the glass shatter and there's a spray of water and stuff, the lights go out.
Of course they do.
And so you're sitting there and you're listening to this thing roar and run around the theater and you can feel its breath on your neck.
I just felt it. I just felt that.
I was mortified. I was screaming my head off. And I was like, make it stop. And so we left and my mom was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
She was like, I didn't know what that was. And I was like, oh. I remember them running me over to the teacups and being like, go on, go have fun. And I'm still like, oh.
Spin in your teacup.
Spinning in the teacup crying.
Oh.
That ride no longer exists there.
Yeah, I've
for
never heard
obvious
of it.
reasons. The fuck? Today I'd be amazed. 7-year-old me was like,
Not having it.
Oh my God. Alrighty. So yeah, Clownhouse escape mental patients.
Dressed as clowns.
Eek. Clown horror, I feel like at this time is kind of hot. Like you have killer clowns from outer space, which is crazy if you've never seen it. So in an article from Vice, writer Charlie Graham Dixon blatantly states of the movie Clownhouse, quote, "As a concept, it's pretty basic, though the nightmare's enlivened by a constant thrumming undercurrent of high school homoeroticism, which manifests itself in lingering crotch shots and constant close-ups of half-naked teens.
Oh.
It's basically as terrifying as you'd expect a film about murderous child-killing clowns directed by a pedophile to be."
Oh.
Yeah, Charlie really went in.
Sure did.
I mean, this is after, like, way after everything had happened. I'm jumping forward.
Sure.
But I just thought that was an interesting, like, review once you know what's been happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also tough, and I didn't really know how to write it. Maybe we can talk through it. But Nathan said he started figuring out what was actually happening in between filming Something in the Basement and Clownhouse.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of stuff in the media about AIDS and homosexuality at the time.
Okay.
And so this was the mid-'80s. Nathan said he didn't grasp that the problem with the abuse was that it was sexual in nature. Like, he just didn't connect that was wrong.
He's also a child.
He's a child. But he said he attributed it to society's outlook at the time that being gay was wrong. So, like, Nathan mentioned that the whole thing at school was to get called a fag. And, like, you know, that was just, like, the term at the time. And everybody's like, ugh, gays, blech, they're, like, wrong and bad. So the homosexual aspect tipped him off that something was not right because he felt attracted to women. So, like,
I think I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, well, so what everybody's saying that, like, being gay is a bad thing. And that's when two men, like, are with each other, and I'm in this relationship kind of with this guy, and it's not that it's sexual that it's wrong. It's like, oh, is that a gay thing?
Because he didn't, I mean, being an 8-year-old, he doesn't realize he's being abused.
Right. No, of course not.
Yeah.
So he saw it as, like, you know, there's this societal outlook that being gay is a bad thing, and so that's where he was like, oh, is this, it made him question that relationship with Victor.
Right.
He's like, is this a bad thing?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. As a kid, you're not understanding the sexual part of it, but then also, like, to some point you sort of are starting to realize that something wrong is going on here, regardless of what it is. You know what I mean? I'm glad that he started to figure that out.
Yeah.
On the set of Clownhouse is when things kind of got a little, like, weird that other people could start to see.
Okay.
He was always sitting in Victor's lap when he, like, wasn't in the scene. The cast and crew were a little uncomfortable with that, so they went to Nathan's parents and said, hey, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I just want to, like, bring this to your attention.
Were the parents not on set?
They were, to some extent, but I think also, like, Victor would try to keep them away at this point as well.
Oh, okay.
So, like, Nathan said later that Victor was starting to get cocky with it at this point.
Because he's gotten away with it.
He's gotten away with it for so long. He started to, like, put it out there.
Gross.
I know.
But also probably good that he did.
I know, because that's how he eventually gets caught.
Yeah.
This caused Nathan's mom to keep pressing him and asking, like, is something wrong?
Sure.
Like, is something going on? I don't know if I wrote it later, but to answer your question, yeah, I believe that Victor was keeping the parents off the sets, like pushing them away, because he had full kind of control and manipulation over the entire family.
Yeah.
They'd been friends for so long. He could kind of,
they probably trusted him.
Oh, they trusted him?
They were probably like, oh, you've been great to our kid.
100% trust. But things are starting to waver at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, Nathan's mom kept asking him, and Nathan's parents were suspicious for a little while prior to the knowledge. But Nathan had been telling his mom that nothing was wrong when she asked. He was like, no, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Salva was informing Nathan that if he told anyone, he wouldn't be able to see him or be in movies anymore.
Ugh.
Nathan said he felt physical pain at having to lie to his mother each time she asked if anything was wrong.
This is...
Because he was taught not to lie. So every time he had to lie, he felt really guilty about it.
Oh, I just feel for this kid.
I know. Rebecca Winters, who's the mom, said she began to suspect... Oh, Kate, I'm so sorry. Tripping over my words. Oh. The listener knows.
The one listener who's paying attention to us. The listener knows.
The listener.
And it's you right here, listening to Horrorwood.
It's you.
In your ear holes. You're our listener. Thank you.
Thanks, listener. So yes, Rebecca Winters said she began to suspect something was wrong during the filming of Clownhouse.
Okay.
She recounted, quote, Victor said I couldn't go to the set. He said Nathan couldn't work if I was there.
Ew.
I just had these feelings. I confronted Nathan and he finally admitted it to me. He said, quote, I have a secret and I can't tell anyone.
Oh, no.
Nathan said that when he told his mom this, he tried his hardest to protect Victor. And he told his mother very little, just that something was happening. He said he couldn't remember his mother's initial reaction because he's since blocked it out, but he remembered her crying.
Oh.
So it comes out.
Yeah.
He finally tells his mom. Salva was arrested close after Nathan's 12th birthday in 1988.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, so he's a little bit older.
Yeah, he's 12 now, yeah.
Okay.
He had endured his sexual abuse since the age of 6 for a shocking total of 6 years.
That is horrific.
I know. Victor was arrested. It was kind of this like sting operation to get him. After principal photography for Clownhouse was completed, police apprehended him. They found all kinds of like child pornography, and Victor admitted to everything at first.
Oh, okay.
Sang like a canary. The money for Victor's court case and a fancy lawyer came from Francis Ford Coppola.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
From money, the $250,000 he'd already given, or he said, "Here's more money for your defense."
He paid for the lawyer.
Wow.
Oh, Kate, just you wait. That's only the first layer of Francis Ford Coppola. This story does not paint him in a very good light at all.
We're gonna have to do an episode on Coppola.
Mm-hmm. After the hotshot lawyer came on board, things started being retracted from statements.
Of course.
Get this. Francis Ford Coppola fired back at Nathan and his family.
I'm sorry. Fired back at a literal child who's been abused for years?
$5 million lawsuit.
What?
To the Winters family, citing a breach of contract for the movie Clownhouse.
Is Coppola still alive?
Yeah. He just made that Megalopolis movie or whatever.
You asshole.
The lawyer for the Winters family wrote up a plea bargain along with Salva's team. It sounds like the best thing that they could do was to do some kind of plea bargain where Salva would plead guilty to X, Y, and Z charges, and then that would kind of be the end of it. So some of the abuse charges, along with charges around Clownhouse, including, I think, that $5 million lawsuit, would be dropped. And Salva pled guilty to the following charges.
Okay.
Lewd and lascivious conduct with a child under 14, having oral sex with a child under 14.
Oh, my God.
And employing, coercing, or using a minor for production of obscene matter, parentheses, no proof, commercial purposes. Salva had actually filmed some of the sexual acts with Nathan Winters.
What?
Mm-hmm. They were among the things found at his residence after the arrest.
I feel physically ill.
I
Like
know,
my
it's
stomach hurts.
Disgusting.
And Coppola is just like defending him.
Mm-hmm. Victor Salva was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. But only served 15 months.
Oh, my
before
God.
being let out on parole.
Ugh.
And that parole, so he went to prison in 1988, 1989, and then got out 15 months later, and then was on parole until 92.
Ugh. How was he treated in prison? Because typically...
Oh, I have stuff about that.
Oh, yay.
We're just about to get into it.
Oh, great.
He was actually beaten at one prison and then transferred to a state prison in Soledad, California. In an article with the Los Angeles Times in 2006, Salva said of prison, quote, "The prison is like a big pressure cooker. Everyone is furious at being there, and if they know that you're in there for a sex offense, either you're going to be somebody's puppet or beaten beyond recognition, as I was."
Well, guess what? You abused a child, and that doesn't fly too well in prison.
It doesn't.
Also, Soledad.
Soledad, California. Did I say it wrong?
Soledad.
Soledad. Oh, shit. Ew, I'm the problem. Soledad. Soledad. All right. So even after the sentencing, Winters still had to keep working on Clownhouse.
Why?
And was doing the overdubbing for 8 hours a day at Coppola's house for a month. So they So this child, this literal child who's been abused for years, and it's now out in the world that this guy is guilty of abusing this child. They say, you have to keep working on this movie. Mm-hmm. And Coppola says, and you have to do it at my house. Mm-hmm. Me, the man who is putting up the money for your abuser's defense. I have to go. I read that they had used these special cameras that, obviously like Coppola had given them. But they were super loud cameras. And so like they had to redub the entire movie.
Because his fucking cameras were making too much noise.
Yeah.
Coppola, you just keep getting worse and worse.
People were telling Winters, like when he was doing that work, including Francis Ford Coppola, oh, you'll never work in this business again.
What? And the thing is, this is not the first time that it has happened in the industry. I'm so mad right now, and I fucking hate everyone that is around this child. Who's protecting him?
Nobody at this point.
What were his parents doing when the people said you have to keep working on this film?
I mean, he was, I hate to say this, but he's like contractually obligated to complete the work.
I can't believe the film was even allowed to continue.
Well, yeah, the principal photography was finished. And then that's when Salva got arrested. And then they had to redub the entire thing, which I think happened under Coppola's,
Fucking Francis.
Yikes. Yeah, so people were telling him as a 12-year-old, you're blacklisted. You'll never work again.
Wow. Great job, universe. Great job, industry.
So after leaving prison, Victor Salva moved to Los Angeles and worked various odd jobs, including as a telemarketer for 1-800-DENTIST.
I hope he got hung up on so many times.
Yes, by people who had bad teeth. Oh, don't talk to me. Click. He wrote scripts on weekends and delivered them to production houses while posing as a delivery boy. Coppola even gave Salva $5,000 to get back on his feet when he got out of prison.
Again, he's giving this predator money.
And he told him, Coppola told Salva when he was going to prison, it'll make you a better artist.
That's disgusting.
A quote from Salva, I lost many movies because of my situation. There are a lot of people who are afraid of me because they only know what they've read.
I love how it's so passive and he doesn't take any responsibility. He's like, well, because they read something about me, they don't trust me. Correction, because you are a pedophile and a sexual abuser and you've abused a child, that's really where they have the issue.
Yeah. The past has closed a lot of doors.
You think?
End quote.
Although Coppola seems to keep them open.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. I mean, like, he made some big movies after getting out of prison.
Ugh.
One of his films, Peaceful Warrior, was distributed by Lionsgate in 2006. Lionsgate president Tom Ortenberg says, quote, we knew about Victor's past, so we were aware and concerned. But he's taken responsibility for his actions, which not everybody does, so we felt he'd paid his dues and could move on.
Ugh.
Salva said that he knows his past is always part of the equation when he's up for a job. Quote, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop, he says. I don't bring up my past unless someone asks. If they do, I say, how would you like to be defined for the rest of your life for one bad thing you did 20 years ago?
One bad thing you did to a child for 6 years.
That's the thing. Is like, I don't think people understand that it was 6 years of abuse.
It wasn't like one incident.
One time. No. Included in this quote to continue, I have no expectation for people to forgive me. All I can hope is for people to recognize my right to redeem myself. Winter said that the aftermath was awful. A quote that really hit me hard in an interview with him was, quote, I had lost my best friend.
Oh my God.
Yeah, his acting career was gone and over. He faced abuse at school because a local newspaper, the Contra Costa Times, printed Nathan's name 7 times in a short article about the situation.
Wow. A minor.
Yeah. After the story came out, all the kids were hushed, pointing, calling him awful names.
This poor kid.
This is right as Nathan is heading into 7th grade. Part of the settlement was that Nathan would go to therapy from ages 12 to 18. He said he had a great therapist and his family was very supportive.
Okay. I mean, that's something, I guess.
Nathan recounted in an interview that he had tried to commit suicide when he was a kid. And he said that he consistently thought about suicide and eventually turned to drugs and promiscuity. He wanted to escape it and went to several different schools, but someone seemed to always find out about it.
And this is what is so infuriating, is that you have the abuser crying because he's like, oh, people know that I abused a kid and now I'm having trouble getting work. You've literally destroyed this child's life. I have nothing to say.
Awful.
I just want to throw
awful.
up.
I know. Yeah, Nathan was just saying, like, in his opinion, he thinks it shows just how messed up our culture is and what we find acceptable. And he said, you know, it's pretty sad that it comes to that. Nathan said he never tried to take down Salva's work except when Salva wrote and directed Powder for Disney. And that was because it featured a young man and was geared toward young male kids, like 12 to 17. That's who the movie's target audience was.
I see. I do remember that movie. It was the kid who had albinism.
Yeah, and had telekinesis.
I do remember that. Oh, yeah, that's right. I do remember that. I guess I was too young to understand that it was geared towards boys.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you do see Powder, like, half naked, and there's this scene with Jeff Goldblum. I'm going to get into it.
Okay.
Powder was the name of a film which centered on the titular character of Powder, a distinctly smart and albino teenage boy that had telekinetic powers. Marketing for the film spun it as a modern-day fairy tale, and it starred there I go again. It starred Sean Patrick Flannery as Powder, alongside stars Mary Steenburgen, Lance Henriksen, and Jeff Goldblum.
I thought it was Steenburgen.
Did I say Steenburgen?
You said Bergen.
Oh,
is it Bergen?
I don't know. Oh. Mary, let us know.
Write us at horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
Follow us on social media.
And leave us a 5-star review.
The movie turned out to be a big hit, grossing over $30 million worldwide.
Wow.
from a $10 million budget. So the previous article I've mentioned from Vice talks about the film's inherent obsession with youthful male sexuality through Salva's eyes as a director.
Ugh.
The guy who I quoted earlier about Clownhouse was just talking all through Salva's movies and like, you can see it like in what he does. And he says, from that article by Charlie Graham Dixon, quote, "These moments include repeated shots of Powder's naked body, others that linger on a male teenager's body as he showers, and a particularly unsettling scene in which Jeff Goldblum comes across Powder in an empty cafeteria and says to him, quote, 'You touch me and I've never had better sex than I've had in 10 years.
What?
I want to be a friend.' Goldblum then looks tenderly at a shy Powder. 'Did you ever have a friend?' he asks, before taking Powder's hand as his hair, supposedly due to an electric current, begins to stand up."
I do not remember that part of the movie.
Goldblum then touches and caresses Powder's face and bald head for around 20 seconds.
What? Man, all of that
I don't really remember Powder very well.
All of that went way over my head.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw it as young
I was
people, kids.
As young people. The youth.
Nathan was 20 at the time that Powder came out and was livid that Salva was like working on a movie like this for Disney.
Sure. For Disney. And I mean $30 million.
Right. He got a call from the Associated Press and did a whole bunch of interviews about Nathan did about what happened with Salva. He had to tell the world what Victor is. People pushed back and tried to discredit Nathan, telling him he was doing it for the wrong reasons. However, Winters and 5 of his friends physically went and protested at the Avco Center movie theater in Los Angeles in 1995. This was at a studio industry screening of the movie.
Oh, wow.
There's a picture of him standing outside holding a sign that says, Somebody in the Basement, and Clownhouse, written and directed by Victor Salva, and then My Molestation, written and directed by Victor Salva.
Oh, that is heartbreaking.
I know. He also handed out leaflets that said, please don't spend your money on this movie. It would just go to line the pockets of this child molester. His friends that went with him carried similar signs.
Mm-hmm.
Disney did learn of Salva's past after production on Powder had begun. There were technically no minors on set, is what Disney said, like in response.
Wait a second. So Disney did know about it during production, is what you're saying?
They said they found out during production.
During production, and yet they did not stop production.
No.
And they said, it's okay.
There's no kids there.
There's no kids. Wow. Great job, Disney. You're doing swell.
Well, I mean, they essentially just said it would monitor the situation, like keep an eye on it, and things would go forward. According to Nathan Forrest Winters, former CEO of Disney, Michael Eisner, allegedly said that the abuse was only a one-time inappropriate touching incident between a grown man and a consenting minor.
What? If you're a minor, you do not consent. That is impossible. You cannot give consent as a minor. When you're being abused for 6 years, and it was far beyond just a little one-time touching, even if it was just that, that's still horrific, and he should still go to prison for it. What the fuck does Michael Eisner think he has to say about this? Like, why is he even... I hate everything.
Yeah, he was like, this happened one time. The kid wanted to.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Does Michael Eisner have kids?
I don't know. I didn't go deep into him.
Sure.
I mean, Nathan Forrest Winters talks about that in an interview, and he was pretty upset by it.
Well, yeah. All these fucking rich people who are trying to just protect their money, it's all about money.
It's all money, of course. Victor Salva went on to direct even more movies, including Rites of Passage in 1999 and then Jeepers Creepers in 2001. This is where we see another spike in popularity around Salva. Jeepers Creepers and its subsequent sequels went on to be big horror movie hits, especially the first two.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this is tarnished for me now because of this story,
Sure.
but Jeepers Creepers is one of my favorites. I love that movie. And my mom and I went to see it in theaters when it came out. We didn't know what it was. And so we were like, ooh, that looks weird. Let's just go watch it. It's terrified. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Loved every second of it.
Well, and you didn't know about this story
No, of course
before
not.
that.
Of course not. We were the only people in the movie theater at the time when we were watching it. So it was like perfect.
Yeah.
Element. Such a good movie. Jeepers Creepers follows two siblings heading home for spring break, driving through a countryside area. The siblings are played by Gina Phillips and Justin Long. They encounter a flesh-eating monster on the hunt every 23 years for delicious body parts that are in tip-top shape. You've seen Jeepers
Tip-top shape, yep.
Yeah.
Tip-top shape.
Tip-top shape. Each time Salva's name was attached to a movie, the convictions would come up.
Sure.
As they should. But Salva could always count on Francis Ford Coppola.
Francis, dude.
When the going would get tough.
You gotta stop, man.
When MGM hesitated to hire Salva to direct Jeepers Creepers, Coppola, who was producing a slate of films at the studio, vouched for him.
I don't understand why he's so gung-ho about this guy.
I have some quotes we'll get into.
Okay.
Coppola was an executive producer on Jeepers Creepers as well. In an article from the Los Angeles Times by Patrick Goldstein, Coppola is quoted about working with Salva. Quote, someone had launched a campaign against Victor, saying, how can you give this guy a movie to make, recalls Coppola. Quote, some of the financing for the film fell through. One of the actors resigned when he learned about the case. So I helped Victor get the job. I was criticized for it, but my attitude is he has a talent, and that talent in itself is good. We don't have to embrace the person in believing that their art is a contribution to society.
And yet Coppola is the one who told a literal child, you'll never work in this town again.
Coppola was present for some of the filming of Clownhouse, as it was partly made at his home in Napa Valley. Quote, I didn't know of anything improper going on, although I witnessed some things that caused me to raise an eyebrow, he says. Quote, only in retrospect did things really add up. You have to remember, while this was a tragedy, that the difference in age between Victor and the boy was very small. Victor was practically a child himself.
Oh my God. Coppola, stop talking.
Salva was 29. The boy was 12.
The boy is a literal child. That's why we're calling him a boy. Coppola. Oh my God.
Yes. Coppola is not surprised that some people will never forgive Salva. Quote, they're entitled to feel that way, but he has a real gift as a filmmaker. The punishment has been completed, and he should be a citizen again.
I have some thoughts for you, Francis.
What does Salva have to say about all of it in an article for that same article from the Los Angeles Times, which was really, we'll link it. It was like an interview with Salva, and the author had talked to Coppola, which is where I just got those quotes from. So the article by, I want to say his name again, Patrick Goldstein. In that article, he's quoted as saying, I pled guilty to a terrible crime, and I've spent the rest of my life trying to make up for it.
Guess what? Your victim has had to spend the rest of his life living with what you did to him.
Yeah. For almost 20 years, I've been involved with helping others. I've been in therapy and I've made movies. But I paid my debt to society and apologized to the young man. And all I can hope is that people will give me a chance to redeem myself. People thought that this whole thing was like a one-time incident and not 6 years of consistent abuse.
Yeah.
Nathan Forrest Winters said he has never accepted any money for his story or anything because he goes out there and tells it often.
Yeah.
Rebecca Winters Sousa, the victim's mother, says her son has moved on with his life. Quote, I am really proud of my son for speaking out when Powder was released because it wasn't easy, she says. But as long as Victor is kept away from kids, I don't have a problem with him working. Everybody has a right to his life, so I have no animosity. I have forgiven him a long time ago. The documentary that I had mentioned was Nathan Forrest Winters and Connor Frazier. And they worked together to develop a documentary about everything with Nathan. And Nathan actually scored the movie himself.
Okay.
He's a musician now.
Awesome.
I think, because I looked him up on social media and he was super active, especially with the documentary up until about 2019.
Okay.
And then there's nothing after that. So once that came out,
we don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
But images of him I see online are with guitars and music. So
cool.
he's playing music.
Good.
The documentary project had a budget of just under $3,500 and was mainly funded through a GoFundMe. From one of the interviews I watched with him, he said, we need to reclaim our duty as adults and break the silence when you're abused. It's this dirty little secret that they place this guilt on you. Breaking the silence is one of the most empowering things a victim can do. This is what happened to me and who did it. It's the first step to become a survivor. Innocence is yours and no one can willingly take it. He said his childhood was stolen, but his innocence is his and his alone. Salva isn't quite done in the movie industry as of late. Another film, Jeepers Creepers 3, came out in 2017 and faced a ton of backlash.
From the case or what was the backlash?
Salva.
Okay.
The movie is written and directed by Salva, who had been shopping around for producers for the movie. He had been trying to cast the movie in Vancouver in spring 2016 for the lead role of teenaged Addison. British Columbia Actors Union found out and sent a big alert to local talent scouts about Salva's past.
Oh, that's
they were
amazing.
Whoa. And they just blasted out
good.
You're going to see this. Just know that this is what happened. It was revealed that Jeepers Creepers 3 originally included a scene suggesting sexual abuse between a 13-year-old runaway, played by 21-year-old actress Gabrielle Ha, and her stepfather. In this scene, one character expresses sympathy for the molester, saying, can you blame the stepdad, though? I mean, look at her. The heart wants what it wants. Am I right?
What the fuck?
Critics who saw advanced screener copies pointed out the disturbing nature of the exchange. However, the scene has since been removed from the public version of the film. Yeah, maybe don't joke about that.
Yeah, this is bananas. I'd never heard about any of this.
One of the film's producers, Michael O'Hoven, spoke with BuzzFeed News on his decision to work with Salva despite his past. O'Hoven said he was a big fan of the original Jeepers Creepers I almost said French fries. Jeepers Creepers French fries. Ohoven said he was a big fan of the original Jeepers Creepers franchise and worked with American Zoetrope, who is Francis Ford Coppola's production company that holds the Jeepers Creepers film rights, and also MGM to get that sequel made. So Ohoven also said what happened was awful and he's not trying to condone anything, but when can we give someone a second chance if they've turned their life around? Ohoven believes, I think I'm saying his name right, Ohoven believes Salva has faced a double standard in his condemnation compared to Allen and Polanski, Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. Possibly because Salva's crime involved a boy. Quote, I'm not condoning any of it, Ohoven emphasized, but I think there's a certain double standard that might not be fair. He mentioned that Salva has attempted to discuss the incident with him, but he refuses. I don't want to, he said. I gotta tell you, it is, for me, the idea of it is so horrific. I know the man, learned to know him, believe he turned his life around, believe he is a great man. On the other hand, nothing ever excuses, no matter how long it is.
And this is Coppola saying this?
No. This is Michael Ohoven, who's a producer on Jeepers Creepers 3. So it's very hard for me to even delve into the details. There's a moment when I don't even want to know all the details, to be honest. However, Salva admits it hasn't been easy to move on. As a convicted sex offender, he must register his whereabouts with local police and has been in therapy for more than 2 decades. He volunteers at Forgotten Souls Redeemed, a group that runs workshops with juvenile sex offenders, encouraging them to express themselves through writing. The group's leader, Dolores Abdella Combs, says Salva has been an inspiration to the kids, stating, most importantly, he's living proof that you can change your life and be a functioning member of society. And then I talk a little bit, I've already talked about the documentary. I came across several titles for it. Like, it was called The Babysitter, The Boy, Pure Eternus, and others. Couldn't find it. It's probably somewhere out there if you want to look. And I hope that Nathan Forrest Winters is out there enjoying his life.
Me too.
And I will finish that Salva does have another movie in the works as a director titled The Old Hag Syndrome.
Okay.
And that is the story of pedophile director Victor Salva and his victim Nathan Forrest Winters.
Well, I hope Nathan is doing amazing.
Me too.
Hope he's making music out there.
Yeah.
And just killing it in this world. And I have nothing to say about that other guy.
Yeah.
But if you do, you can leave your comments on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, or Spotify, because you can leave your comments on that too. At
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to get those fall gift packages, you can hop on over to Patreon at
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast.
That's what we have for you today.
And rate, review, and subscribe.
My stomach hurts.